I've been seeing videos of small object manipulation like pens and balls, and I really love how close you can get to those props for a perspective that the eyes really can't get. Also, camera tip, the closer you can get your lens to a subject, the more you can blur the background out. Because these props are so small, I was able to get super close, which means I was able to really knock out the background and isolate the subject, and I really love that look. I spent 2 days scouting locations for this video. Another tip for budding videographers: take photos and videos of dope spots you encounter and start building a library of shooting locations. I use an app to make nice grids of photos and videos per location so I can present options to clients for future work. Also, while you're scouting, take notes, especially about the sun and where it is at what times. For example, this location is surrounded by tall buildings, and so the sun set behind a building at 5:30 p.m. to cast the right shadows that we needed. Had I not known about these buildings, we would have rolled through at 7 or so thinking, oh yeah, we've got golden hour sunset happening soon. But it would have been a disaster because it would have been too dark to shoot without lighting at that point. So, do your homework. If you can, go to locations before you bring your talent there. That way, it quells a lot of shoot day anxiety, saves a whole bunch of people a whole lot of time, including yourself. So, we've got this establishing shot of Sara walking up the stairs, pulling out the kendama from her fanny pack, and believe it or not, I have never shot one of these types of scenes, these types of like walking from behind, tracking slow motion shots that you see in so many videos on YouTube at this point that it's become super cliche. But I've never done it, and I wanted to hop on it for this one, and so yeah, it's cliche, and I got it out of my system, and I'll never do it again. Let me know in the comments if you know of other super cliche shots that you see all the time, because I want to see if I've done them or if I still need to do them. Shots like these were super challenging. I much prefer using a gimbal stabilizer to move my camera around, but my gimbal cannot react fast enough to track the super high-speed motion of Kendama. So, for every sequence Sara had, I made sure that I did it with a stabilizer and that I did it handheld too, so I could move the camera around very quickly. The camera I'm shooting with is the Sony a7 III, which has in-body image stabilization, plus the handheld shots were done with a 24mm wide-angle lens, and then on top of that, I use speed ramping to mask a little bit of the shakiness out. You combine all of those together and you get some smoothness in your shots. I didn't even need to use stabilization in post, but if you have access to it, go for it. This is my favorite shot in the edit. It's actually two completely different takes, stitched together so nicely that it feels like it was all one shot, but it's not. Here's the slow-mo. Did you see the cut? This is my long shot. I was about 15 feet away from Sara with an 85mm lens on a tripod. I always like to have a lockdown shot thrown into the mix with a tripod, especially for longer takes and more epic tricks. To me, using lockdown shots is the most bare bones way to bring truth to videos like this. Sometimes videos, they can feel overly edited to the point where the viewer is left wondering if any of the sequences are actually real or if the whole thing is just Frankenstein together by an editor. I like to use locked off shots to bring the viewer back to a place where they're like, oh yeah, this isn't all just fancy editing. There's some real skill happening here. That's the balance I'm always thinking about in the editing room. How much of my art as an editor am I showing versus how much of my talent's art am I showing? That's a balance, and I always have to pay respect to my clients because I feel like they're all very talented people, and I don't want to take that away from them in the editing room. Tony Zhou, this amazing film analyst, has a really great video on this topic that I will link in the description, where he breaks down Jackie Chan's directorial style and talks about how Jackie can afford to do long, wide angle takes because him and his crew are such excellent stage fighters. But in other cases, editors have to really cut around fight scenes and make cuts like every second because the actors don't actually know how to fight on stage, and so the editors are left with the job of faking it through editing tricks. Here's the thing, editing is a lie. So if the most powerful thing you can do is tell the truth to display the actual skills happening, don't lie using editing. At some point it's cheating the audience and it's disrespectful to your talent. Okay, moving on. I really love how in some kendama videos, the camera operator kind of bends down and bounces up with the kendama player in order to follow the action. So I really wanted to do that kind of style using the handheld mode. But Sara does these tricks so fast that I literally could not keep up. This is one where I had to really just stop her and tell her, do that trick as slow as you possibly can, and then I'll change the speed in post to make it look right. And I just love this look she has at the end, like, yeah, I'm a badass, I'll lace that trick. I don't think that's what she was actually thinking, but it's just what it looked like in the moment. She's super, super humble, but in that moment it was like, ooh, that face though. Let's hold on that. So I did a little slow motion to really emphasize it. I've got a handful of really cool tricks with slow motion, so if you want that information, drop a comment below, let me know, and I will make it. There's this thing in kendama culture called licking the bevel, where dama players actually lick the hole in the ball so that the porous wood of the tama becomes grippier and they can more easily land stalls. Apparently during COVID, that practice has kind of fallen the wayside a bit, so Sara carries this cute little spray bottle around to simulate licking the bevel. I say, do what you gotta do to nail those tricks. Time is money when you are working with a camera operator like myself. Lace them however you can. I knew immediately, when this bicycle rolled by, that I was going to be able to use this as a transition to another scene. This is called a masking transition, and I so rarely get the chance to do them that I got super excited when this bike rolled by. Plus, that little bike chime, so freaking cute! But it didn't actually happen in reality. It's one of the many, many sound effects that I added in post. I've got a whole video where you can find great free sound effects at the end screen of this video, so if you're interested in getting some sound effects into your next video, click that pop-up at the end and check it out. Speaking of sound effects, another one I added throughout this video were these little whooshes. Have you been hearing them? Here, listen close. That's not the sound that a kendama actually makes, but I wanted something to kind of simulate what a sound would be like as the kendama moved through the air. And so here and there I threw it in for emphasis, like big tricks, like this lunar barrel roll. Holy crap, one of my favorite kendama tricks of all time. What is your favorite kendama trick? I don't know anything about the terminology to look these things up, so if you know some, drop them in the comments, point me in the right direction because I want to check them out. We had this little break in the music, and I thought, ooh, like this would be a steezy way to throw a little title card up. Usually credits are at the front or the back of videos, but so often I find myself literally skipping through the first few seconds just to avoid them, and then clicking away from the video the millisecond I realize we're at the end of it. So I wanted to use this pause in the music as an opportunity to kind of sneak some credits in. All of these little clicks and clacks you're hearing from the kendama, we shot all of them with a microphone at the end of the session. I had like 10 different little wood on wood clicks and clacks to play with that we shot right up against the microphone. And so I mixed all of those sounds back into the video in post, making sure they all aligned with the timing that the tama and the ken came into contact. All of the audio in this video was done that way. The footsteps at the start of the clip, the zipper noise, the ambient noises of the city, every sound all engineered and mixed back in the editing room to give that extra little touch to the clip. Yep, even those little bird sounds, downloaded from a sound library, mixed them back in. If you appreciate that kind of effort in videos, hit that thumbs up button and the subscribe button, because Four Petal Films is just warming up. This last spike I didn't actually have in the original render. I swear to God, you put the word final in a render's file name and you've basically guaranteed that you're going to have to render at least one more time. I showed the clip to the client and they loved everything, except that this one little trick didn't make it in. We spent so much time getting it perfect. So I went back and I tried to figure out a way to squeeze it in. And I found my opening here at the end of the video. Listen, you gotta set expectations with clients, but it's also a game of push and pull, especially when money's involved. So I let her know, hey, I'm gonna make my best effort to try to get this in the video, but it might not happen. Literally 5 minutes later, boom, found a spot, made the adjustments, everybody's happy, and hopefully that resonates well with her, and when people ask her, she will recommend me. I will get more gigs, the world will keep turning. Hit that thumbs up and the subscribe if you want to get more dope clips, if you want to get more analysis, and most importantly, if you want to get tips on how to make your videos better. I'm Sosceles, this is Four Petal Films, see you in the next one.